Welcome to episode 24 of the About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with my host, Stephen Loeffler, Adjunct Wex Twins, Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting tonight. Live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available on iTunes and Stitchers. Just search About the Cards Pod. And please review and subscribe on all those platforms, especially on YouTube, because you're getting a little alert. It'll say, hey, About the Cards is going live right now. Guys, how are your Thanksgivings? Any Black Friday pickups that you had?
Way too many video games.
Or is it Thanksgiving or something like that?
Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to that effect. But did you guys do any Black Friday pickups? Any new cards coming your way from Black Friday?
No cards. I did buy a few retail packs here or there. Nothing major out of them. And way too many video games. Oh, nice. New news.
I didn't buy any cards. Although I did buy a pack of cards for anybody that didn't see it. I bought a pack of Gallery. It's funny, I picked up the Ricky Henderson Masterpiece Green Parallel on eBay, but I had not picked up the base. I picked up a pack for my son Bentley to open, and I was like, there's only one card Daddy wants out of this pack if we get it. Sure enough, we end up pulling it, and that was pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Because, I don't buy a lot of packs, so, what are like really the statistical odds of us pulling?
Well, that's the second time you've done that.
Yeah, every once in a while you get lucky. But then again, maybe I'd get more lucky if I bought more packs.
Yeah.
Naturally.
So how was yours, Tim?
It was good. Picked up NBA 2K19. I've been a little addicted with my Sacramento Kings. That's been fun.
Speaking of the San Antonio Spurs, Tim, what's going on?
Oh, let's not talk about the Spurs. Makes Ben upset. He had to burn his Kawhi Leonard jersey. No, it was good. And, family came, hung out. We had a good time and relaxed. It was a good 4-day weekend. So, yeah. Guys, the week
are the best.
The week that was last week's releases. So 2 weeks ago, we didn't have the numbers for the Cal Ripken week of Topps Living, which was the 36th week. And we actually have last week's numbers as well. So double dose tonight.
Hey.
Yep, so that's exciting. Right. So week of the 24th through the 14th to the 20th for November, 36, actually finished as the 31st best week at the time. They had a little over 14,000 cards. Cal, the Hall of Famer from Baltimore, sold just over 6,400 cards. He was the 33rd most popular card so far. Blake Snell, Cy Young Award winner, sold just over 4,100, 96th place. And J.P. Crawford, the underperforming rookie of the Phillies, sold just under 4,100, but beat out Snell by 3, so he's at 95th place.
By 7.
By 7. So I'm surprised Ripken was not over $7,000. Not even 6,500. He was at 6,423.
Right. I think I said 6,500 last week. That's really surprising.
Yeah. 7 was kind of the barometer I think we all thought he would get, just because he was going to bring in the outside crowd, maybe people that are, Ripken collectors or that era collector that, haven't yet really got into this particular set. I figured it would draw more. But then again, you have the other issue that for every one person that's coming in just to buy Ripken, you have people like Twins Jake and others that are starting to fall out and buy in bulk. So how many people, if Ripken had been dropped in week 10, his numbers probably would have been a lot, closer to say 7,500 or more.
Yeah, I believe so. And again, not a bad week. And then we come to last week, the 37th week. Only put out 12,000 cards. It was the 36 out of 37 weeks, so it almost got last place. Week 2, we had the Rockies' Nolan Arenado. He sold just over 4,000 cards. Now he undersold. Snell and Crawford both oversold Arenado. We're talking a Gold Glove, home run hitting third baseman. He's the 99th most popular card. Clint Frazier, the rookie of the Yankees, led the week at a little over 4,300. He was the 92nd most popular card. And Andrew Haney, why in the Haney was he in this set of the Angels? Sold 3,600. He was 109 of 111. So he's the third worst card they've released. I knew it was going to be a bad week. I figured Arenado would run away with it. I didn't think Frazier would have. This is the number I thought Frazier would get, but I'm thinking Arenado's going to hit 5,000. He hits barely 4,000. Just I think a disappointing week. I know baseball's tailed off, and that's probably part of it. But again, when we get to this week, I mean, we're going to have another stinker. Breaking news, but not a surprise on my end. Were you guys surprised at all?
Not entirely. I mean, with the rookie outselling the most recent week, it's not all too surprised. I'm surprised it wasn't a little higher for Arenado. Yeah, sure, but I mean, rookies have the advantage in this set, and Ripken. I'm really like I said. I think I said 6,500 last week. Go ahead and check, but
we will.
Yeah, of course you will. But I mean, it's the off season. It's dwindling. They're going to have a huge spring training to opening day month just to bring people back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I see this faltering quickly, especially with Twins Jake.
Yeah, and he also said he just doesn't seem to make him through next year, so it'll be interesting to see.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Heaney, I think, came in about where everybody thought. We've been talking about this with Topps Living Stat off and on throughout the weeks about this got to have rookies, and you got you're picking somebody like Heaney. I know, Tim, you mentioned that you thought he was the Evan Gaddis, where there were so many other Angels, even aside from Pujols, who they've made, and Trout, who they haven't. If you go down that list,
Justin Upton.
If I said Andrew Heaney, how many casual fans are even going to be able to say, "Oh, Angels"?
Ask his teammates; they might not know who he is.
And so, with it being off season, with it being a decline, I just Heaney we knew. The thing is, with Arenado, he's a superstar. He's a potential Hall of Famer if he gets another good 6-7 years of this production. He's at least going to be in another Rockies guy who just got on the Hall of Fame ballot for the first time in Todd Helton. Arenado has a chance to at least be Todd Helton 2.0.
Yeah.
But I think that comes down to the fact that there's just not a lot of Rockies collectors. I mean, who's the last big Rocky that we've seen who, even if you look at a team that's not as desirable, look at Christian Yelich now.
Rocky.
Yeah. Yelich now in Milwaukee. Tampa Bay really hasn't had a whole bunch. Longoria. Oakland's had quite a few, but Oakland has the lore of years past. You have all the Hendersons and Jacksons and McGuires and Cansecos that Colorado doesn't. So even these small market teams, may not have the support. Colorado's just kind of there.
Yeah, real quick on Andrew Heaney. 2018 line, he was 9-10 with a 4.15 ERA, 30 starts. He had one shutout, pitched 180 innings. In his career, he's 16-20.
Yeah.
He's played in 61 major league games, and he's in this set. This is the guy. So, anyway. So it was a total print run. We're almost at 780,000 cards, which we'll roll over to next week. But anyway, and also we had 2018-19 Panini Prism Basketball came out. I heard Luka Doncic is silvers and parallels are going for crazy amounts. Yes, 2018 Panini Playoff Football, 2018 Panini Immaculate Football, and Stranger Things was released. So we're going to move into hot off the press this week's new releases in the Topps Living set of week 28. We have three guys here. So card 112, Ralph Kiner, outfielder, as the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he is the fourth Pirate. And Daniel Palka, outfielder, Chicago White Sox, a third White Sox. He's a rookie. And Billy Hamilton, card 114, outfielder, Cincinnati Reds, the third Red. Yeah, who's Daniel Palka?
Ex-Twin.
I'll be honest.
Maybe that's why I know.
So for anybody, we have a private DM like everybody does, where the three of us talk about the podcast. And Tim today just writes the names Kiner, Palka, and Hamilton. And I'm like, what are those Broadway plays that you guys are going to go see or something? I had no idea who Falco was. I'll be 100% honest. I'm a
Quad
big
A
baseball
power
fan.
hitter.
But, yeah, he's just, especially for a set like this, I mean, the Kiner, that's a good-looking card, especially with the old school Pirates logo on it. I mean, that's a beaut.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I mean, this is going to be one of the weakest.
But when you think of Hall of Fame baseball players, Ralph Kiner does not come to your mind.
For Pittsburgh, it does.
Yeah, but okay, like it's like saying Mel Ott, right? Like he played so long ago that most of the collectors that are buying, they're going to be like, "Who?" Kiner's not going to break 4,000.
No, not at all.
Nobody in this week. I don't think anybody's going to break 4,000. We might have the lowest week ever.
1,400 hits, 369 dingers, multiple All-Stars, no MVPs, highest finishing as 4th. And
don't get me wrong, he's a good player. He just doesn't have name recognition.
No, absolutely not. Mid-40s, mid-50s players. It's one of those that, like, unless you're a baseball stat head like me or other players, other people, saying, hey, what decade did this player play in? 5 out of 10 might not get it right.
Yeah.
No, Kiner's a great player. I mentioned on Twitter that I would thought, like, say you went like with a Satchel Paige or something, an iconic veteran that, somebody along those lines, and maybe a Duke Schneider, along with Kiner, or two Kiner type players that you could have kind of piggybacked on one another to kind of promote. It's just overall, yeah. I mean, if you said Ralph Kiner, there's going to be a lot of people. I was watching Ken Burns baseball earlier, and they were talking about Ty Cobb and the fact that 400 people showed up to his funeral, 3 of which were former ball players, most of which were little leaguers that barely knew his name. And this is Ty Cobb, and that was back in 1961.
Well, a lot closer to jackass.
Well, he was, sure, he was, and you could say what he wanted. He did say his biggest regret was not making more friends in life, but the point is, 1961, he was playing all the way up into the 20s. It's not that far-fetched. Look at Ralph Kiner. How many casual fans know about him?
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous card. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of my favorites they've made. It's definitely top 5 if I was ranking them just based off of the overall presentation of the card. But, yeah, this is going to be a really bad week.
Yeah. And there's not even like a current all-star here to drive anything, like Billy Hamilton. He was probably one of the biggest disappointments of card prospecting there's been in the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah,
sure.
So all that speed and can't get on base.
That's the thing. Yeah, he's a sorrier version of Juan Pierre. At least Juan Pierre could get on base. And, yeah.
So let's move on. 2018 Panini Rookies and Stars football came out Monday. 94 box, 6 packs per box, 10 cards per pack. You're gonna be guaranteed 2 autos, 2 mem, 22 inserts, 12 rookie cards, 5 numbered parallels, and 2 numbered Optichrome inserts. I like that Optichrome. It's a 200 card base set. The first 100 are vets, the next 100 are the rookies. There's 10 parallels, so if you want to build a rainbow. 8 or so autograph sets, 5 or 6 mem sets, and then 10 insert sets. And anybody knows Rookies and Stars.
So one of my complaints with Panini is that they'll use a name from a set that they've had since like 1996. This is one of those, yes. But some of the set names and some of the designs that they use, especially this insert that I'm showing right now, I love the Crusade inserts. Fun set, regardless of my complaints.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good looking set. I mean, again, it's like the Crusade stuff's pretty cool looking. But again, it's a midline, average, another football product that they have to put out, average set. I mean, there's nothing that makes it, to me, differentiate if you're looking at the cards, the base cards versus any of the other sets they've released in the last few months. So
is this like the yarn ball, rubber band ball Parallel.
Yeah, the one with the car there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, when I used to collect football, I liked the rookies and stars. I thought it was a pretty solid set. You know, it was a mid-tier set, not too terribly expensive. You know, back in 2010, 2011 when I was collecting. You know, but again, is it something that you're going to run to the? You know, there's people that are going to run for heritage, that are going to run for Bowman Chrome when it comes to baseball. You know, is this one of those sets that you're going to run to the store for, or if you're there, you might buy a box because it's there and you want to open something? To me, it's one of those. Hey, you know, Tim, if we go over to the LCS, you know, 2 weeks from now, we're just kind of hanging out, and you're like, let's open a box. That'd be the kind of thing that we would say.
Like, it's there.
You know, and if Greg's got it,
now. It's not $94 anymore. It's $80 now.
Yeah, if we both put a 40 spot in, and it's like, all right, so whatever, you take home anybody you want, I'll take home anybody I want, and if we get anything cool, we'll sell it and split it, and you know. But then it's one of those things too. It's like if you start to get that complicated, might as well just keep our $40 and buy something else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really what this kind of product is for the football fan. It's probably good value for what it is. But you're not gonna probably run to Twitter with all your awesome hits and go, man, look at this.
Yeah, look at these awesome inserts I got. You know. We also have 2018-19 Panini Absolute Memorabilia Basketball coming out Friday. $120 a box, 2 packs, 3 cards per pack. You're going to get 2 autographs, 2 memorabilia cards, and 2 uncirculated cards, which means they're in some kind of a case. They're, you know, in a magnetic or something. There's 100 card base sets. Both has both rookies and veterans. And you're going to get at least one of those in those uncirculated cards each box. I didn't see how many autograph or memorabilia sets were out. There wasn't a ton of information earlier this week when I looked at it. I don't know. It's a good way to go chase some autographs. You know,
Sure.
You're going to get in a box. You're going to get your 2 autographs for. So if you hit one of the good rookies, you're going to hopefully get your money back.
2 and 2 uncirculated base.
A lot of it comes down to your motivation. What is your collecting style? I mean, you really can say that about any product, honestly. You know, what is your collecting style? You know, we got a bunch of products. I know we're going to get into probably, you know, Bowman Draft and stuff like that here pretty quick. But with Dynasty coming out and Transcendence in baseball, and you've got National Treasure, all these high-end products towards the end of the year, you know, what are you after? What's your budget? You know, with every passing day that goes by, the budget's dwindling, you know. As we're approaching 25 days left before Christmas Eve, you know.
I hate you.
Why?
Why do you
hate
that?
me?
Because you say stuff like that. It makes me want to come punch you.
Why do you mean hug? And you can come hug me, and I will hug you back. It'll be the best hug you got all day, guaranteed.
Oh, I don't. No.
Oh yes, it will.
Yeah.
You haven't had one of these hugs.
The naked fat guy at the doctor's office today was the best hug I've had. He was. We found out later he was crazy. What's brewing? Next week's releases. So we have 2018 Panini Obsidian Football.
And that's about the only guarantee.
Yeah, because 2018 Bowman Draft Baseball was supposed to come out on the 5th as well. And now I saw Brian, who's Brian's here tonight. He said that it's supposed to be called Bowman Draft Picks and Prospects. Now,
right.
I believe that they've dropped that from the box itself, and it's just called Bowman Draft now, and it hasn't been Draft Picks and Prospects for a couple of years. Is that correct?
2016, right? Was the last year it did it?
Right. On the box itself, it says Bowman Draft. However, the cards are labeled BDPP.
Yeah.
Bowman Draft Picks Prospects.
So I guess we're both right. I just like to give Brian a hard time. And that's been pushed back to who knows when. And then also Topps Dynasty Baseball is supposed to come out next Friday. And that also possibly could be pushed back. So we will see what happens. But Draft Picks disappointed me because Joey Bart of the Giants isn't going to be in there. So that tells me he's going to be the guy in 19 Bowman. So 19 Bowman is going to be $1 billion a box.
Did they release a checklist?
They've been showing pictures of draft picks that they're going to have out. Brady Singer for the Royals was in there. Casey Mize, Alex Baum, a handful of top 5 picks. So we will see. Oh, interesting though. Draft is always one of those fun products to, again, prospect for prospectors. You go through and you just stash them away because one day you might have an $800 card, or one day you might be the first day might be an $800 card, and 2 years from now it's a $3 card. Byron Buxton.
That's why I didn't pick him up then.
Yes. So I don't prospect as much as I used to, and I'm better for it. I think I'm a better person. I feel better about my card collecting than I'm not prospecting anymore. It feels a lot. I feel more complete. But hey, you know what? If you want to gamble, it's fun to do. Trust me, I live vicariously through a handful of guys that I'm in a fantasy baseball league with, and the stuff that they pick up is crazy. But sometimes it's like, dude, this guy might be awesome, but like they're all about Luis Robert. I'm like, oof.
That's the thing, is the guy might be awesome, but at what cost?
Yeah.
If you pull it, I pulled a Buxton out of the LCS here. I bought the last box and I pulled a Buxton auto out of it. I pulled an Albert.
Where is it?
I sold it a long time ago for like $110. The Albert Almora auto I pulled out of Bowman Draft, I think that same year, and traded it to our buddy Mike Kennedy. But it's one of those things. If you're pulling it out of a box, I'm already buying the box. Cool. Yep. But if you're going online right now and you're going to try to prospect, and I mentioned today because I saw an article about Jeremy Lin, I'm like, you remember the stupid prices people were paying for that guy's cards?
Oh yeah,
10 grand. I saw one of his cards went for, and now what are they worth? Nickels.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic to think about that kind of stuff.
So real quick, a couple things I don't have in our rundown tonight, guys. And Steph just pulled it up. You want to pull that back up? I saw on your screen.
Yep.
So Topps came out with this interesting thing, and I don't know if this is the first year they've had it or not.
I think so.
But the Topps Advent Calendar, and they've released the first 2 cards. The first one, of course, was Mr. Mike Trout. The second was Clayton, I Can't Win a Big Game, Kershaw. And
tomorrow we'll get the next.
Tomorrow will be Bryce Harper, and then it's going to be Juan Soto, and then it's going to be Ronald Acuna, and then it's going to be,
I really like the choice of design.
Yeah, it's a sharp card.
Kind of like a really darker 87, 62 wood grain.
Yeah.
But the border accents,
little holiday colors.
I wish
what I don't like about it?
Set.
What I don't like about it is this just came out, the Topps Gallery. The canvas parallel, they look very similar to the canvas parallel.
They're similar.
Background does.
I mean, the overall border and everything. It's just kind of like, I just got this card today or yesterday, and then I see these Advent come out, and I'm just like, man. Other than, it's a different overall look, but if I put them on the same page together, people would probably go, yeah, they go together.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Then also too, when I was cruising the Topps site the other day, I saw the Topps Limited 2018 set, which was on a thicker cardstock. I want to say it was on a 24-point cardstock, and I asked Ben, I'm like, I've never seen this. When did that come out? You guys familiar? I think Ben, you said you picked up the limited Topps flagship set.
The limited came out a couple weeks ago. I picked up the base set, the team set, I should say, the A's. It's more like the trying to think of what other product might be similar to it.
It's kind of like the factory retail's complete base set for 2018 Topps Series 1 and Series 2, except it's a limited edition release.
Yeah, it says limited on the front, and it's like they said it was a thicker cardstock. So I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Like
if you were feeling like maybe like a high tech card or something like that, just get rid of the acetate portion of that in your mind.
It was that thickness.
It's like that thickness. Like if you're holding them side by side, you'd be like, all right, they're probably
like this.
It's one of those.
As far as them being, like if you were to go to kind of give it a little bend on there, just kind of that. Yeah.
It's one of those that I want to say I think they lasted it in like 2016, 2017. So I guess maybe the last couple years. Yeah. But they experimented with it in like 2000, 2001, maybe even 2002. Because I think there's the Mauer and Morneau rookie.
And I heard it's missing Acuna and Torres. So,
of course.
Yeah. Which is funny because
they were short prints.
Yeah, somebody asked are they going to be in there when Limited got announced? And Topps like, yeah, every card that appeared in Series 1 and Series 2 will be in there. And I don't know if the person that responded on the Topps Twitter handle didn't think it through before they responded that, oh, those two were short prints. But yeah, once the limited edition dropped, they were not included.
Yeah.
So
interesting. And then also we have an Ichiro from 01. Hold up, here's rookie, and as you see at the bottom, it says limited underneath the com logo. Yeah, interesting. No, so it was just a couple things I they had on their site. All right, guys. So there was a tweet earlier this week. I'm gonna pull it up here. I'll make sure I have it correct. From Big Daddy Cool.
Biggs.
Yeah, and he asked about this T209 Honus Wagner that's been graded by PSA as restored. Now, it was a conversation that was on the Net 24 or Net 54 baseball forums, which you're not familiar. They're like Steph, you could probably explain it better. I know they have a dinner at the National that you need to be invited to. They're big time vintage collectors, and when I'm talking vintage, I'm talking like 1900s.
Oddball, whatnot. So summary Net 54. You don't get invited. You just tag your name in a thread that they post on a forum saying, "Hey, me and someone else is going." Really restrictive community. You kind of have to essentially give out your ID, your phone number, or be invited by somebody. In my case, I happen to actually meet the owner since he lives in this area. I've actually bought a few cards from him. Thanks, Leon. But it's a huge, essentially an old school forum. It's a little outdated in its appearance. However, the people that are on it are the most knowledgeable about old school vintage, pre-war, kind of post-war, kind of stops around 1980. But there's still a 1980s to present knowledge base there as well. But I mean, if you want to find out something about the 1896 Mayo plugs, somebody has probably seen a sheet or has a sheet somewhere in a warehouse from them. It's a heavy resource if you don't want to dig out the big book.
Yeah. No, so these guys were talking about it in there. So my thought is so they PSA graded it and they said it's authentic, but it's just been restored. What's your thoughts on them doing this to a T206 Honus Wagner?
Not the T209. So my issue is with the future scammability. In that now that they've slabbed it, okay, sure. But what's to stop someone, the third, fourth, fifth person that buys this from cracking it and submitting it, and some great guy going, "Yep, sure, it's authentic." That's original and being sold on the market for some obscene price. However, I don't agree with the actual restoration process of it. It's unfortunate that you're damaging a card like that. Wow, Twitter, you do not know how to display images. They bastardized it, in my personal opinion. This is how it should look, and this is how it should have stayed looking.
Exactly.
I mean, sure, you're getting into the whole like art market versus what's what it's supposed to look like originally out of the pack in 1909, 1910, 1911, somewhere in there. However, it isn't. It survived 100 years as was. Why did you change it?
Yeah, it has a patina.
For PSA to grade it authentic and restored seems kind of an oxymoron to me. If it's authentic, then it should look like it originally did. If it's restored, okay, sure, but then it's not authentic.
Yeah, it should just say restored.
Right.
I agree. I think it's just disappointing.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ryan Cracknell brought up a good point that as long as all the information is fully disclosed, who should have a problem with it? As long as it comes back. If I'm buying it and I know it's restored, then the onus is on me. But then it comes with that asterisk of what happens when I sell it and I don't disclose that information. I crack it open and we send it in. Everything. Our friends' pre-war cards, had had made a comment. He had a couple blogs that were interesting today about something else related to that era. But the thing is what happens when you crack it and you resubmit it. These are all opinion based. All of these.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if it's Beckett, PSA, SGC, JSA. All of these are opinion based.
Right.
That's why. I was recently telling my dad that I had bought a 1956 Ted Williams for $110 from a friend who had bought it for $110 from a friend, and it was graded a 4 or 4.5 maybe.
Sure.
And the guy who originally had it graded did it at a show. He said he was in a hurry, and he's like, it's easily a 6. And he sold it to my friend Jay, who was gonna open it and resubmit it, and then I bought it, and I ended up selling it on eBay, and I told the guy the same. Hey, I know this is your card now, but when you get it in hand, take a look at it, because this is what was told to me. You're the 4th owner now since it's been graded. If grading is your thing, consider, because now, it very well could get a 6. Who knows? But the idea is, it's just an example of the fact that.
Yeah.
And who knows? If all 3 of us look at it and we're all 3 graders, what's to say we all give it the same grade? We've talked about these issues recently with Decalage facsimile autos being graded as authentic autos, and that's what's to say the next guy is going to take a look at that and go, gosh, this is authentic, not restored, but authentic, pack pulled and weathered over the last 110 years.
So I want to address something that Jenny asked in chat. What does restored mean? Reprint? No, as far as what PSA graded, they're saying that it is a authentic 1909 to 1911 T206 Sweet Caporal Honus Wagner, the Holy Grail card of Holy Grail cards. However, they're saying that somebody took it from this image and had somebody who's much better with paper and artwork and colors and inks and made it look like this, and then slabbed it.
Yeah. It always comes down to buyer beware. At the end of the day, you got to be extremely careful. And again, our friend's pre-war cards, if you read any of his blogs today, he had like this big flashing sign that basically said, "Do your homework."
Right.
And it's one of those things that, I've mentioned this before, I believe, on the podcast. I bought a 1933 DeLong Lou Gehrig at a show for $20 as a aged reprint. But man, she looked very, very authentic. And I posted on Twitter, and Ryan Cracknell and Chris Olds and a few other people are kind of like, send it in just to get authenticated. So it's like, either I'm $60 in now to have a $20 reprint come back as a reprint, or I'm $60 in to find out that the card I bought as a reprint is authentic and now worth potentially $1,000, $1,500.
So what'd you do?
I still have it. It'd be one. I didn't know that Beckett was at our show a couple weeks ago, or the last one that we went to together. I should have taken it. So one of these days I'll get around to seeing if it's authentic. I'm sure it's not, but just do your homework. Ask people that are smarter than you in a particular subject.
That's why Ben always calls me.
That's why I call Tim all the time, and that's why I want to give him a hug.
So this kind of leads into our next segment. We talked about you follow all of us earlier in the week. Ben talked about ACEO cards and their legality. So are they legal? First of all, what are they? ACEO stands for Art Card Originals and Editions. They're the kissing cousins of ATC, or Art Trading Cards. Both are definitions of cards of artwork measuring 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and the same as standard playing cards. And you can find a lot of them on eBay. Now, see, some of these are being sold using photos and logos without the express permission of the player and/or league, right? And so that's kind of where the legality comes in to this.
Right.
Ben, you posted one. It was it Canseco and McGuire or something in the 86 Fleer style?
Yeah, 85 Fleer, I think it is.
Yeah.
Fleer of Canseco McGuire. I got it The card stock is really solid. Whoever made it, so I bought an '84 Topps Canseco and an '84 Fleer Mattingly Canseco dual card. So I do own a few, but yeah, I mean, as far as the legality goes, they're selling trademarked. I mean, it says Oakland A's, New York Yankees. The Yankees and the A's are Athletics being licensed, trademarked, owned, copyrighted by the teams in Major League Baseball. Obviously licensed to Topps. The player images are owned by somebody, whether it's Getty or Major League Baseball. We're not allowed to profit off of something. We can't just. But you see it all the time. How many times do you go and buy a Dunder Mifflin T-shirt because you're a fan of The Office? Well, if you buy it from your local Spencer's Gifts, it's probably legitimate. But if you're buying it on eBay, you're probably buying it by somebody who made it out of their garage, or it's coming from China. And so, I'm sure we all have bought things in the past that are not legal. The question came up as to what Topps or Panini or a company in their position would do. And, it may just be as easy as issuing a cease and desist to the creator of the custom card. Years ago, I owned a coffee shop, and this was around 98, 99 when we had it. And one of our drinks was a Frappuccino. And one of our friends happened to work as a district manager for Starbucks. And he ended up giving us a letter one day, and he's like, "Sorry, guys, you guys can't use the word Frappuccino." And it said you have 30 days to remove it from your menu. If day 31 comes along, you'll be fined, $10,000. And basically, we'll sue you for $10,000 for every day that you have it on your menu thereafter. So we had to call it a mocha freeze instead. That's why when you go to your local coffee shop, they will sell a Frappuccino, but it won't be called that because it can't be. And if it is being called that, they're doing so illegally because that is owned, unless they've got the license from Starbucks, which I don't think Starbucks does license that name.
Probably not. So I'll draw two parallels to that. In the video game market, there are ways to back up your cartridges or CDs, DVDs, and through specialty software, you can play them on your computer or other devices if you know how to do that. The parallel that I was going to draw was it kind of depends on the computer, the company. Nintendo in particular, if they find you doing it, they will slap you left and right with a cease and desist. If you even edit their game and say that it's a new game entirely using their assets, they will slap you down left and right. It will not exist in under 2 weeks as soon as it gets popular. They are fastidious and litigious. The issue and the parallel here being it depends on how quick or much they care the MLB, MLBPA, or the actual card producing companies are. Do they want to go after Joe Schmo and get some publicity, or do they want to just tell them, hey, stop? We have means of producing cards if you want to produce a one-off set. Or are they going to go after every Joe Schmo, every media market like Gummy Arts or
what's different with Gummy Arts is that he's hand drawing those.
Sure, but it's based off of something that is their trademark.
Yeah, but understand about Andy Warhol and when he drew and painted the cables. So there's a weird spot where you're drawing it versus using, I would say, digital material.
Sure. But it depends on how much that company wants to go after them.
That's true.
Well, and essentially these cards are being bought at $4 each. I mean, at least that's what I've only spent. So, although yes, they do come in a plain white envelope. Basically, I mean, how many times do we spend $3.50, $3.99 on a card to be shipped to our house anyway? So, arguably, it's not like the people that are making these cards are getting rich off of them. Our friend Nick, who you can find at Boss Brink on Twitter, brought up the point that basically it's Topps's doing their due diligence to protect the trademark that they're licensed to have. They don't own those names. Major League Baseball and the respective teams do. So then the question comes down to, should Topps step in and enforce the law of the land and say, hey, listen, you're not supposed to be making those, only we can, and here's your cease and desist.
Well,
and at what point does it come? It's just not financially feasible. I mean, that's just a letter that their lawyer sends.
Well, and that's the thing too, is
yeah,
that, their lawyers may actually say, whether you want to or not, you actually have to defend that trademark and that copyright. In that, so a famous case, if you guys want to look it up, the Disney lawsuits, they came up for copyright in 1998, 1999, somewhere in there, and they got together with all of their huge, heavily handed lawyers, and it came to the U.S. government and essentially came to an agreement that in 20 years the copyrights will be up. Well, January 1st, 2019 is that 20th year. Now, you know damn well that Disney's getting all the lawyers together and trying to get that up, but in order to enforce that, if they don't, Steamboat Willie comes up. Steamboat Willie comes up. Fantasia comes up. All of these huge markets, unless they enforce their copyright, they lose the right to argue it in future cases. Because, well, you didn't argue it in that major case. It's weird. Copyright law, that's why what lawyers have to take their own course just on that, in addition to their regular coursework.
Well, then there's fair use law as well.
Sure.
So there's a lot of gray area that things could be argued in depending on how it's being used. But when it's copyright infringement, you're actually, making something at your computer. We know a lot of people, and I will not mention anybody by name. We know a lot of people that do make these cards at home for their own private use. People that refuse to sell them, even trade them. We do have some friends that will trade them off, but they will not. Hey, if you want to make it at home, there's nobody to stop you.
Sure.
It's one of those things that would be no different than trying to pirate something out of a. If you're taking your video device into a movie theater and recording it, but not intending to upload it on anything or for any file sharing. You're just using it for your own personal use. Is it wrong? Sure, but it's not necessarily illegal. They're not going to be sitting there watching you in the movie theater. It's the second that you put that on a file sharing, upload it, share it with a friend, where you start to get in that gray area. And then if you sell it, then yes, if you make profit off of it.
Right.
But then there's the other thing too. If you get away from the legality, what about collectability? How many people enjoy collecting ACO cards, assuming that there was nothing illegal with them?
Well, and that's the thing. We have this opinion just because they're based on sports cards that's their that's a huge market. And I'm not saying that it's not. However, it originally started as people, hence the name, drawing them as art trading cards. Drawing a picture of a cat on a little, essentially what equates to a little dummy card, insert blank spacer, and sending them off to a friend. Now, sure, if you're going to make that into the sports realm, you're not going to get any reputable printer to actually print them, because again, they don't want to have Topps or MLBPA or Panini or anyone else to come after them.
Very true.
Sure.
But also, with collectability, it comes the demand. How many people want this individual player on this individual umpteenth set? Now, yeah, sure. Because in the past, I've thought about doing that where, okay, here's all of the Twins, people that have played for the Twins, one game or more. Here's all of Topps, Donruss, Fleer, set. Who didn't get a card? Well, can I find an image? Well, can I find a non-copyright image? Well, can I get a set designed based on this year? Now, if I do it myself, yeah, sure. But there's a lot of cost on my end. Now, I'm not going to trade it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to publish it in any way. But where's the legality of that?
Sure.
No, definitely. So just a very interesting topic. And there's also some breaking news came in from Blowout Cards. First buzz, 2019 Top Stranger Things Season 2 coming out April 3rd.
Yep.
That's exciting. Season 2. Nice. So go get your box right now, season 1, and then in April get season 2. So our friends over at Beckett, Baseball Monthly, have a special issue coming out for January of the 80s. It's an 80s issue. So it's ranking the top cards of the 80s, such as like the 89 Fleer Billy Ripken card, tops Tiffany sets, minor league cards in the 80s. And so we came up with our top 5 favorite sets and our top 5 favorite cards from the 80s. And I want to mention a few folks reached out to us because I put it out on Twitter today, and some people got back to us. So my buddy at Cardboard Icon, Ben, he sent out his favorite rookie cards were 89 Upper Deck Griffey, the 85 Topps McGuire, the 86 Donruss Canseco, 83 Topps Tony Gwynn, and an 80 Topps Ricky Henderson. But he has favorites. So those are his favorite rookie cards. He's a big rookie card collector. His favorite cards, the 87 Topps Sammy Khalifa, who played infield for the Pirates. It was his first card he remembers pulling from a pack. And it's kind of a cool card because he's standing in the air and looks like he's getting ready to make a play at second. 85 Topps Eric Davis, the 89 Fleer Ripken, 82 Topps Dave Stewart rookie card, 85 Topps Roger Clemens. And then his favorite sets, 89 Upper Deck, 88 Sportflix, 85 Fleer, 87 Topps, 88 Fleer Update. And the Fleer Update was his favorites because his first set he actually bought a complete set of. 87 Topps, the first set he built and completed. And that's the same with mine. So let's see. At Night Owl, he just listed his favorite sets, 83 Topps, 84 Fleer, 88 Score, 84 Donruss, 80 Topps. Voss Brink, Nick reached out, 88 Score, 83 Topps, 89 Upper Deck, 87 Topps, 84 Fleer. He liked the Ripken, the McGuire, the 87 Topps Kevin Mitchell. Now, mine is it the Mets one where he's sliding, which I think is a great card. 81 Granny Goose, Ricky Henderson, and the 89 Griffey. Robbie, Booby Main reached out, 84 Fleer, 83 Topps, 81 Topps, 81 Fleer, 83 Fleer. And then at Catcher 19 reached out, 80 Topps, 83 Topps, 85 Topps, 87 Topps, 86 Topps. He also liked the McGuire and the Clemens, the Henderson from 80, the 83 Boggs, the 84 Mattingly. So there's a lot of overlap. And most of these cards are listed in this week's month or this month's or that January month's Beckett. And there's some other surprises really quick, a couple of big ones we forgot. And I don't want to give everything away because it's an issue worth going out and buying if you collect it in this era, which I did. One card comes in at number 57, the 88 Greg Jeffries rated rookie. I thought that was interesting. Card 68 is the 88 Topps traded Jim Abbott. Card number 42 is the 83 Fleer Ron Kittle. And one more interesting one that might not be listed anywhere. The 80 or the card number 21 was the 89 Upper Deck reverse negative of Dale Murphy. So it's an issue I'm going to pick up physically. I bought a Beckett earlier this year because Brent Williams was on the cover, and I sent it to him and had him autograph it. And Ohtani's on the cover, so hopefully I'll get Ohtani to sign it one day, and then the Brent Williams auto will be worth something, is what Brent told me. So it means a lot to me. But no. So guys, let's do this. So Steph was born late in the 80s. Now Ben and I lived the 80s. And we never wore helmets. We played in the dirt. And we did dangerous things.
You didn't have a curfew?
No.
Just whenever the lamp light went out.
That's why so many kids were taken in the 80s. You know, our parents. All right, so Steph, number 5. What's Steph's 5th favorite set of the 1980s?
So I didn't include it, but a quick honorable mention. Paul Gibson, 88 score. 89 score? 89 score. But no, sets, I gotta go birth year as my top set.
Well, no. Hold on. You got to go reverse. What's your fifth favorite set, Tiny?
Just a little tease. It's okay. Relax. 81 Fleer, just because it's one of those that I first started collecting. I got a few cards from a putt/batting/ arcade center, and found somebody from my hometown, small hometown, Thief River Falls, Minnesota, that, it kind of kickstarted everything. But, me and my parents would sit and watch sports, so it kind of grew from there. But, actually getting something physical that I could look at that, hey, well, one, this was issued 6 years before I was born. Kind of cool. Yeah. And I like the design with the little baseball glove in the corner, if I'm not mistaking it for another set. The baseball ball itself, rather. And yes, especially in 81, some of those early designs were rushed out quickly because of the lawsuit against Topps that cleared. But it's a personal thing.
Okay, what's your fourth favorite set?
Number four. 83 Donners. Iconic. This is the one that I was thinking of for the glove set. It has a little bat and a little glove, and I'm pulling up a picture here as we speak. Schmitty. Just looking at the different designs, and I didn't try to pick one from this company, two from that company. It's just the way it worked out. If you're looking at the 80s, all of the teal blue, powder blue uniforms and all of the sets just particularly stood out to me. It just screamed 80s to me. So that's my number 4.
Real quick, Mike Schmidt wore 20, right? What jersey number is he wearing in that? 37?
Looks like 37, yeah.
It doesn't even look like it says Schmidt on the back because it looks like the name ends in a G. Take a look.
Number. Yeah, it does.
Maybe it was a Photoshop.
Airbrushing. But he also shares my birthday, September 27th. And was born in my girlfriend's hometown. So it was an apropos one to pull up.
Not too bad for the third best third baseman of all time. So what's number 3, Steph?
So I quickly edited it in the spreadsheet, but 84 Topps. I could have gone 85 with Clemens and Puckett, and certainly warranted. But I've always liked the bold team letters along the left side with the huge inset card photo. Some of the heads slightly pop into the regular photo. Pulling up a picture as we speak. No, I don't want to save. Just, I naturally wasn't alive in 84, a few years early. But in collecting my twins, some of them have stood out for sure. That one in particular, just by the name. But some of these early sets, especially some of the 77 onwards, most of the teams had between 27 and 29 cards each. Perfect for my what's the words I'm looking for here? My data something. So I don't know. Lost track what I was going for. My OCD, as it were. Number 2, and I think this is on pretty much everyone's list, 89 Upper Deck. Changed the game completely. In that the images were that much more crisp. The photos were used, and yeah, sure, you got the 89 Ken Griffey Jr. Leading off number 1. Cards number 60, 66 were naturally Dodgers, because Inside Humor at Upper Deck. All through like 92, 93? I want to say. And to finish it off, I've got 1987 Topps as my top set. Just because birth year plus that wood grain border that you either like or you hate. And it's one of the first sets that I finished once I actually chose my collecting focus. I mean, you kind of got to get it right. I mean, didn't you guys get your 77 and 79 sets?
I have a 79. Yeah.
Which one are you pre-aging by 2 years? We were both born in 79.
Hell if I know.
You know
See how
what's
much you know
funny
us.
is, so Ben, it's funny because we have very similar lists here between the three of us, but I like some of them here. Ben, number 5.
So I went with 1988 Score. For me, this was a very iconic set. I've mentioned this a couple times in past podcasts. I think mentioning that I traded a Michael Jordan rookie card one time for a box of 88 Score because, hey, why not? But Score was just fantastic. I mean, it was brand new. It was my second year collecting. So it was a little different than, I imagine it'd be like what would have happened in 81 when Donnerson Clear came around. The pictures really popped. You had the 4 separate colors.
The original parallel.
Rainbow
parallel.
On the back, you had all of the stats that were on there with a new, different picture of the guy, like, a profile picture. I mean, it was just 88 Score was phenomenal as a young collector. And I think a lot of people that collected during that era probably look back fondly on that set, even though it's kind of infamous amongst a few of the other Score sets for being kind of a poster child of that junk wax time frame.
A lot of it. What's number 4?
I put the 89 Upper Deck. Steph got into it, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. Obviously, it's an iconic set, much like Score being the first of its kind, and with the hologram and
foil packs.
The foil packs. They were $1 a piece, where other stuff was a quarter, 50 cents,
40 cents. Yeah.
Griffey being iconic there. So there's a lot to love about 89 Upper Deck, and I think that most people our age would have it on their top 5 somewhere.
Yeah, it was mentioned in almost all the lists we received. Number 3, Ben.
I put 84 Fleer / Update, kind of lumping both the base set and update together. 84 Fleer, just those mid-80s sets, regardless of which one you're a fan of, from 83 to 87, had so many iconic rookie cards and infamous cards. Considering that after you got past 80 and Ricky Henderson, 81 kind of had a lull, 82 kind of had a lull. And at the end of the decade, 88 and 89 both had kind of a lull for rookie cards. Yeah, with the exception of the Griffey Upper Deck.
Yeah, sure.
There were some, but as we look back on some of the big names that came out during that time, like the Greg Jeffries and the Kevin Seitzer, and so many of those guys kind of just fell off the face of the earth from that 88, 89. So 84 Fleer and the update edition, I think we're both very infamous, especially when we get into the individual cards. We'll mention a couple of them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Number 2,
85 Tops. I think 85 Tops, the design is phenomenal. It's kind of a modern day upgrade over the 65 set to me. You had the flag, and now you had kind of that bar at an angle. And again, you can name 10, 12, 15 guys deep on that 85 Top set, from Gooden and Saberhagen and Strawberry and Gwynn and Mattingly. Just Clemens, a ton of guys that were included in that set. So 85 to me, they just display nice too for people that put them in binders. Going card by card by card, 85 Tops is tough to bypass for the 80s decade. If we just stay in there, if you're putting them in pages, 85 Tops has got to be on the top of lists.
All right, Ben, what's number 1?
I don't know if we're all going to agree on this one, but 87 Tops, first year that I collected full. I was always a fan of 62 Tops as one of my favorite sets as well, and it's got that modern upgrade look as well. It's got the card number 366, the Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco's Rookie Cup card. There was a lot to love as an A's collector in that set. Just if we just isolate it to that,
the jerseys are the best because they had those almost neon green jerseys they used to wear back then when they looked good. They didn't have these
wood grain that.
Yeah,
you shut up. Okay, that's my list. Okay, Tim. How's your list?
My list is better than both of yours. So number 5, 89 Upper Deck, and enough said there. The Big Mac card is legit in that one. 83 Tops, just for the fact that you have Sandberg, Boggs, and Gwen that just carry that set, and just the way it looks. Just that I like that the round photo in the front. It gave it just it's the first time I think the first time ever Topps had 2 photos on the front of the card.
Don't have to think about that one for a second.
But it's one of the first sets they did that with. 86 Topps traded gold, especially when you were a kid back then. You have Bonds and Mitchell and Clark, Bo Jackson. God, that
86 Topps was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, but the traded just with that, because that traded has that wider stock, it just really popped. 87 Fleer. Just again, that rookie class and that blue border, and that again, I go back to that Bo Jackson. The way the Royals cards kind of just match up with that blue border, it looks so sharp.
Yeah, really nice for a Royals fan.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite sets, and was a set I could never really get my hands on as a kid, and it always seemed like very exotic. And then they also had the glossy versions.
I just picked up the glossy A's team set about a month and a half or 2 months ago. Yeah.
And Brian Bice here, 60 Topps had 2 photos on the front. I knew there was another one, so thanks, Mr. Bice, for that information. Wealth of knowledge here.
I mean, do we count 55, 56?
Yeah. So there's a handful. I knew it was one of the first, but I mean, it was the one they hadn't done in a long, long time. We're talking.
No, it was the first. It was the first of the junk wax era for sure.
Yeah. And then number 1, 87 Topps. What?
Shut out.
Kindred spirits.
My first, again, Ben and I the same. The first set ever put together with my, in build, and love 87 Topps. I pick it up all the time whenever I see boxes or I see a vending or whatever. I pick up a box. So, 87 Topps, and Rob Vertran is probably flipping out because he hates 87 Topps, but it's so glorious. All right.
Does that count as 2 images?
No.
All
right. So Benjamin. What is your fit? We're going to go to our favorite cards of the 80s. So we're going to let Ben go first. Ben, what is your 5th favorite card from the 1980s?
So I do want to throw a quick shout out to my favorite card. Is not listed on here. That was the 86 Eric Davis, which got me into collecting. Honorable mention to the 87 McGuires, and then the 86 Topps traded set, because it did have the Bonds and the Canseco and some other iconic cards. My coming in at number 5, mine was actually a tie for 84 Flair update. You have the Clemens in the pocket, and that's part of the reason that ended up making my top 5 as far as the sets go. I mean, it had Mattingly and stuff as well, but the Clemens in the puck, and I lumped them together because they're such a 1A and 1B from that set. If you're only looking at that set, just like for me, if you're doing like 83 Topps with the Gwen and the Sandberg and things, so some of them are just kind of lumped together in our minds. At number 4, I put the 82 Topps traded Ripken. Although the 82 Topps regular Ripken as well. It'd be hard to make a top 5 set and not have the Ripken rookie on there. At number 3 was probably one of the more infamous cards in my personal collection, one that I was always after. Although the 84 Donruss Mattingly, I guess you could throw an honorable in there, my number 3 was the 84 Topps Mattingly. The iconic image. It was just to me, it's one of the best cards ever made, honestly. Even though the 84 Donruss has a lot to say as well. I mean, Mattingly in the 80s was just so huge in the collecting community. Number 2 would be the 80 Topps Henderson, which I have quite a few of. And, that goes without saying. I mean, that's, again, probably a top 10 card of all time. Definitely in top 20, depending on who you ask. And depending on what eras, if we were talking ever, when you start to get into all the pre-war stuff as well. Henderson might get bumped down a few notches, but definitely a top, short list, top 3 to 5 cards of the decade. And then, of course, number 1 being the Upper Deck Griffey, because, I think we put that on our Mount Rushmore of cards for that era. I think that was the card. So there's my top 5.
All right. So let's go to Steph. Steph's
Sure.
list is very interesting and very
Steph.
Very Steph.
Just a tad. And I'm actually pulling up the last of them as we speak here. So number 5, I went with everyone's favorite set. Personal. Where is the window? 1987 Topps. Ken Herbeck. Sorry, Atlanta fans. He was out. He did not get pushed. He fell. But it's a great action shot. The majority of Ken Herbeck's cards from the 80s and 90s are mostly like full-on photo shots, whereas this one's actually in action. Kind of makes it stand out personally to me. I've always kind of liked it just flipping through the Twins team set. It stands out a little bit more than just the posed shots. But that's it for number 5. Number 4, same team, same market, but going with the pitcher, who was just named one of the pitching coaches for the Atlantic League tonight, which he's kind of found a job. It kept a job in baseball, so it doesn't really surprise me per se. But Frankie V, Sweet Music.
You only like that card because you guys have the same hairdo.
No, I mean, just when you imagine that 24-7, 24-8, Sweet Music just dealing before getting traded to the Big Apple. It just envisions everything about that, and just when I picture him, this is the first card that comes to mind.
But you did get a lot out of that deal, though.
I did. There you got
Tapani,
and a few others.
Yeah,
so it wasn't a complete bust, but no, doesn't mean I have to like it. Number 3, I'm going to show my own 84 Foo Kirby Puckett. Picked this one up at a show for way less than it books for. Authentic, not restored at all.
The thinner Puckett.
Indeed. Kind of looks like he's holding a metal bat prior to the real rise in them. But it's not an action shot. It's not a posed photo or anything. Well, I mean, it is a post photo, but I mean, it's not like a some of his later ones, like 93 Tops, where he's holding the huge Babe Ruth bat. This kind of stands out. Yeah, it's a rookie, but for the 80s, when I was looking at the Twins team checklist, you got 67 Rod Carew, 55 Tops Killaroo, 63 Tony Oliva, and then you got 84 Foo. And it wasn't too hard to find. It's just a iconic image for me. Number 2, guy you guys may not have heard of, but the image just screams early 80s, late 70s. Ken Landreau.
Real quick, that's not Key, right? From Key and Peele?
It is not. However, I came over, I want to say, as part of the Carew trade. Yes. I think, as a matter of fact, he was part of the main one. However, he set the Twins team record the next year, 1980, for the 31-game hitting streak that he had. Longest since Dom DiMaggio's in 49. But the image itself just screams early 80s, late 70s. Got the Jerry curl almost going on there. And like I said, the 81 Donruss and 81 Fleer I picked up as part of my earliest collecting at that putt shop. It's unfortunately out of business now, but it's my second image. And Tops, not Tops. Jenny posted a picture of it earlier. Mickey Hatcher, 86 Fleer. Love everything about it. The only thing that could have been more perfect is if he had on the blue powder blue unis to go with that.
Yeah,
got the huge big mitt that he was famous for. You got the nice hat. You got the mid 70s Twins uni, Twins across the chest. Love everything about it.
Real quick, breaking news from Brian Bice. Again, breaking news left and right here. Apparently, the Schmidt was wearing Hank King's uniform on the 83 Donruss. He was the Phillies bullpen pitcher.
Interesting.
Or BP pitcher. Sorry, BP pitcher. Yeah, so, Steph, your list was all Twins.
It was.
Surprisingly. Nice. So, mine has a little variation. I think all of these cards, but my first card have been named. And number 586, Don Russ, Jose Canseco, because at one time that was your retirement. That was what you were going to, buy your house on the beach with if you had a stack of those. I bought my first one about a year ago for like $5, and I was like, I was so ecstatic. Number 4, 83 Topps Tony Gwynn, where number 53 is scooting out of a box. Love Tony, one of my favorite players. I think if I had lived in California back then, I would have been a Tony Gwynn fan because I already really liked the guy. But
you'd have been the third Padres collector.
Yeah, possibly. Card number 3 for me was 89 Upper Deck Griffey. The first one I ever picked up was in 2015. My wife and I, or my then girlfriend and I, were in a trip to San Diego and LA, and we went to one of the big card shops down there, and I cannot remember the name of it right now. And it's over by Disneyland, and she bought me 2. She bought me actually a set of 89 Upper Deck Complete, which I never had in my first single Griffey. So that's when I was like, yeah, I should probably think about marrying this girl at some point. Number 2 was the 82 Topps traded Cal Ripken Jr. Just an awesome card, and the fact that he had the other one with the other 2 guys, yeah, that's neat. But this one stood alone. Those traded sets, those always carried a lot more value and just had an air of unattainability for a child in the 80s.
Sure.
And my number 1 card, 1987 Topps, Bo Jackson with the Future Stars, and he's running the outfield. I got a wooden R for my son Robbie, and I took a bunch of 87 Topps, all-star players, and I shellacked them onto this R and like cut them out with a sharp knife and an X-Acto and stuff. So it filled out this R with 87 Topps. The only card I didn't cut that I put on there was a Bo Jackson, and it's perfect on there. And it's all glued up and messed up now, but it looks really clean. I'll have to share a photo of it. But it was my favorite card in the set. As a kid living in Kansas at that time, Bo Jackson and George Brett were the 2 biggest things going in. That Jackson card, I mean, you could trade that for a Cadillac to a kid back then because, that's how important that card was to all of us in the 80s. And so that's my favorite card. I'm very excited about it. That I have a ton of them now, and I know that I battle Matthew all the time about Bo cards. We actually had a special request for the show tonight. So at Jenny Miller 521 reached out and said she wanted to know if tonight's episode wasn't too full, or she'd be interested in hearing on how we decide to focus our PC. She says, I feel like my PC is all over the board. How did you get to where you are in your collection now? However, maybe I know I've seen Tim's binders, but if you guys want to share how yours is organized or is not, I'm trying to get everything organized by the end of the winter. It sure seems like a task, most overwhelming. I have cards I think I need to keep because they're cool, but they just sit in boxes. So, for me, real quick, it was like an undertaking to put the set. I mean, those were sets I had sitting in boxes, and I wanted to look at them. Other stuff is still sitting in boxes for me, and I'm working on player binders. I have team binders for my Royals and my Giants cards I'm working on. But it is a process. The easiest thing I can do is what I did is I sorted everything out the way I wanted. So by players, and I have a couple of 20 or 30 the shoe boxes where I have it lists like Hall of Fame guys, and then former stars, and then current stars, and I've put all the guys I like in these boxes. And at some point I can go through and I can pull my stack of like Jose Canseco's, and they're all in there. My stack of Barry Bonds, and they're all in there. And I can figure out what to do with them. But I pulled out from all my collection all the guys I liked, and I put them in these shoe boxes, and that's where they sit currently. And that did take quite a bit of time. So, and then it's kind of figuring out from there where to go.
Makes sense. I'm actually, well, because I mean, you guys know that I recently moved, but I moving all of that backbreaking was definitely backbreaking. However, it's quickly making me realize that I need to reorganize everything. So, and Jenny, I kind of hate you for that, but but no, it's one of those that when I originally started, I quickly decided that I only wanted just twins. And a few personal touches. You know, the individual cards like the Paul Gibson that I showed earlier, where the guy in the background's itching himself, or Wally Moon with the huge monobrow, or what's this guy with the huge ears?
Don Mossy.
Thank you, Don Mossy. Some of those that stand out that, or like Rod Carew with the Angels. I've already got all of the twins, so you may as well just pick up the other 4, 5, 6 years worth of Rod Carew. But when I started, the card shop that I was at originally said, well, yeah, just put them in like a 5,000 count box. Here's a couple, and see how it goes. And yeah, sure, it worked. It got stuff in a box, semi-organized, and put away. However, I never looked at it. So I've been slowly going through, organizing everything into binders, placing the binders on bookshelves, which I actually need to go back to IKEA and pick up another one. Billy, here I come. To organize everything out. And
real quick note, Steph's right on this. The Billy bookcases are perfect because you can fit 10 2-inch binders across one shelf, and they hold up really well.
And they're cheap. They're what, $40 or something like that generally?
Give or take.
Yeah, depending on what how many shelves what size you buy.
Right. But I mean, you put all the binders on the shelves, and now, mind you, it's not organized. But prior to me moving, I could go up to that bookshelf and go, okay, Topps, Donner, Fleer, pull that out. Okay, this is the 80s from 81 to 89, because for me, the 1 and 2 inch binder seemed to fit the decade-ish of card sets. So unless it was like 1994 Upper Deck Collector's Choice, well, sure, that might take 1 page for a team set. However, you know, when you're talking the full base sets where you got 20, 30 cards a set, a decade seemed to work out just about right. So I can go to it and say, okay, here's Donruss 81 to 89, here's Donruss 90 to 2005, and here's Donruss 2014 through present. Here's Topps 50s, Topps 60s, Topps 70s, Topps 80s, Topps 90s, Topps 2000s, Topps 2010s. There's that. Same through Fleer, same through Donruss, and then I have some of the other sets or pre-war stuff that all gets kind of grouped in together. And just really quickly moving away from boxes just because I find I looked at them more and I enjoyed my hobby more.
Yep. So Ben, how do you do it?
So I was kind of all over the place until a couple of years ago when I decided you can't collect everything, and narrowed it down to just, what makes me the happiest, because we don't have unlimited resources when it comes to money. And it's like, well, growing up as an A's collector and a set collector, I'm not going to be able to do the sets. You just can't anymore. You can buy certain ones, maybe build certain ones, but you're not going to be able to do it all like we could in the 80s. And so I was like, well, then it's the other half of my PC, which is just A's. And growing up, I had them all in A's team binders, sorted by, year, set, release. So, you have and in alphabetical order too. So you have all your Donruss from 1984 together and all your little subsets. And then you'd go to Fleer and then Topps. And as the late 80s came, you'd mix in Bowman and Score, and then eventually Upper Deck. And so it was easy for me because I had already had a strong base for that built into my collection. So now it's just a matter of filling in the holes of the cards that I didn't have, which is an ongoing and never-ending project. And then moving forward from around 2014 on, that's when I really settled on this type of a PC. It was really easy just to have a new binder. Going into 2019, new binder. Flagship comes out, that's the first thing that goes in there. And, when it comes to hits, I separate all that stuff by player. Therefore, I have a Mark McGwire binder. I've got a binder that has all the legends with Fingers and Henderson, and as they start to grow and you get more and more of that stuff, then eventually I'm probably just gonna have a binder for everybody. And that way, if I pull a new Ricky Henderson, cool, I'll just go pull my Ricky Henderson binder. And the binders are thin. And as they start to grow, I mean, my Mark McGwire rookie binder was short and small. And now it's a normal size binder, and I'm already overflowing it. So really what it comes down to is collect what you like. And if you like oddball stuff, I mentioned I might pick up some of the Panini Black Friday football cards because they're just good-looking imagery. There's nothing right or wrong. We know if we get something stupid that's an error card of the past, that we can send that Steph's way. It doesn't matter what the subject is. He's going to appreciate it because he likes collecting oddball stuff. And it helps if it's a Twins, because then it's a double PC. It's more than one of his, like the Gary Gaetti with the gum. If it had been anybody, he probably would have thought that was kind of cool, a piece of gum that we literally can't get off of there. Right. But the fact that it was a Gaetti and it was starting to eat through the front of it made it even more neat. Because, gosh, if you want to talk about cards going to the right home, that card went to the right home for multiple reasons.
It definitely
being a twin, it being an 87, so it's a birth year, it being a gum card, the gum won't come off, and then it was pulled by Tim and I. So when Steph looks at that card, when Steph looks at that card, he's got multiple reasons to enjoy and appreciate that card. Definitely. Beyond just, he already has a Gary Gaetti. You can go on Sport Lots and buy them for 18 cents a piece all day long in bulk if he really wants multiples of that card. This one's a little different, and that's what's fun, is also knowing each other's PCs when it's like, man, this card should go to so-and-so. Let me set it aside.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to be able to organize and put your stuff together. I hope we've given everybody an idea, and I won't sing again. Let's get organized.
Let's get organized.
We can do this all day, ladies.
Yeah. Steph keeps muting us as we sing. But hey, guys, it's been wonderful. Welcome back from Thanksgiving. I've missed you all.
Absolutely.
And, I hope it was a good time. And we will be back next Wednesday, as we always are, live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and review to our show on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. And then let us know what we're doing and how we're doing, and keep sending us good ideas, because I mean, a lot of this stuff has been from you guys that we talk about on the show, and
or we see it mentioned and want to talk about it ourselves.
Yeah, and so we steal the stuff, we steal the good stuff,
of course,
which is all good stuff. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. You can always follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins, and you can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Again, we appreciate you all. Thank you for enjoying episode 24. I hope it was wonderful. And we will be next week with hopefully a better, and it will be 25. So we get a discount on insurance. Hopefully as good or a better show. Everyone have a great night. Keep collecting, and let us know what you pull over the weekend. Have a good one.
Yerp.
Good night, everybody.
Night.